Welcome back, Lisa Renna. I've missed you so much since your family packed their bags, loaded them in your mouth, and skipped town.
And does it match the blood you found inside Mr. Simpson's Bronco?
Yes, it's all from the same individual.
Then you mean all this time we could have been friends?
Judges your score.
Tell us what you don't like about yourself.
I'd like to go to Dreamland.
I'll take you there.
Who are you?
I'm Constance Langdon, and this is my fucking house.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Ryan Murphy Project, a podcast where we take a look at the life and career of one of TV's most prolific showrunners. I'm Eric.
And I am Andrew.
Welcome back to another exciting recap and review. Andrew, how you holding up? We've been chugging along here.
Oh yeah, I know. Well, I'm actually, again, really excited to talk about 911, just 911.
Yeah. I've been excited for every pilot. I think the Nip Tuck pilot on second listen while I was editing it, I'm definitely a little low energy. Maybe that wasn't my most exciting pilot. Probably so far I would rank that. I mean, we have, after 911, we have 3 more pilots to go. And I think Nip Tuck is probably on the bottom tier for me. And I think that comes through in that episode. But
yeah, I'm curious to see how Feud ends up coming off for me because I was so like, oh, we were night recording.
Yeah, night recording. We can't do that anymore.
And then I and then I was like, oh no, I don't understand the source material. I hope old Hollywood gays don't come for me.
Yeah. Yeah, do you think we should watch Whatever Happened to Baby Jane sooner or later?
I would like to get more into the season and see, like, maybe... Okay. I bet you, like, after 2 episodes of Feud, that it shows more of, like, whatever they're recording and stuff like that. Okay. I don't know. It's only 8 episodes, so I say later in the season, so there's more context.
Sure, yeah. I have to ask you another update. What's going on with your moths?
Oh, my God. Okay, so the moths. Whew. I mean, I just literally wrote a note that I need to get my baby moths new leaves because they're behind me. That nobody but you could see.
Are they thriving?
They're thriving. They're living. But then, all right.
Because I'll be honest, I have little faith in this. I know you do your. Why? I know you've done your research, and I know, like, you have your science classes. But it's just crazy that you put them in a jar and just leave them on a shelf.
Listen, I will rescue any animal that I see ever. Like, literally, I just got off the phone with my dad when I was walking the dogs, and he rescued a baby bird. And he sent me pictures, the whole thing. So I feel like it's a family thing, except these are insects.
Sure.
But I have also saved baby birds. and then I think the kind of sciencey aspect of it relates to, I have aquariums as well too. So it's just like kind of creating a habitat, a really an ecosystem that fits.
Your own little rainforest cafe.
Yeah, and so they're doing well. But then I think that eventually when they get very big, that I am going to put them in their own little tree. Okay. And have a dramatic moment about it.
A full-on goodbye.
Yeah. Bye, baby caterpillars. I don't really cry too much, but I'm going to try to shed a tear.
It's been a journey.
Yeah, I know.
What's like the next stage of this? Are they almost like full?
They're still going to grow, and they're going to continue. They're going to continue to eat as much as possible, and then they just kind of keep evolving until they get into like their cocoon sort of state. They're still like green little squishy things right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I like that you're very curious about the moths because that's out of character for you.
What, to care about another person or to care about animals?
Both.
Okay. Don't drag me just because I don't have faith in your moth rehabilitation program, okay?
If I wanted to, these moths, I would see it to the end, but I don't know if it's like, like ethical to keep them.
Yeah, what if they think like you're their mom?
No, I just don't know if there's enough space. And then, like any sort of like waste, animal waste creates pH levels that are really high.
Oh, wow.
And
science.
So then... Science. I don't even have glasses on. And, these motherfuckers are just pooping the entire time that I have them. And they're eating, pooping, and then, and then I have to clean them, and then I disrupt them. It's a whole thing. So I think that it won't be healthy once they get bigger,
Yeah. It's a lot of poop you got to clean up. I mean, they're meant to not have someone clean it up, though. That's like a nature thing,
Yeah, like the waste. And it's nothing. It's just like leaves. It's not like... I'm not going to get into human poop science.
It's not moth diarrhea.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just little leaves, decomposed.
All right, let's get into 911. This is the pilot. This is a more recent show. This premiered in 2018. It was a joint production between Reamworks, Ryan Murphy Television, and 20th Century Fox, and it airs on Fox. So 911 is an American procedural television series created by Ryan Murphy, Brad Falchuk, Tim Minear. The series follows the lives of Los Angeles' first responders, police officers, paramedics, firefighters, and dispatchers.
Yeah, when I was looking it up, it gets actually pretty good reviews, and then it actually gets like bomb ratings, like average 10 million. And hold on, before I put my foot in my mouth, but yeah, no, like when I'm seeing it gets like average 10 million viewers on this fucking show, and that's kind of wild.
Yeah.
To me, but then after watching it, I'm like, oh, this shit is good.
Yeah, I was I think this is the most shook I've been, because obviously the good series, for the most part, we've seen those. But this is like something we haven't seen before, and I did not expect it to be this good. The bar was obviously super low, but man, I was so into it.
Yeah, like it's not... when I was reading reviews about it, it's like I said, it's not your mama's procedural.
Yeah.
And it's not like Law and Order. It's not NYPD Blue. It's not Grey's Anatomy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it is like really, but it's actually really Ryan in the same way.
Yeah.
And we'll get into it about like the little moments that they do touch on. I'm like, come on, girl, but also very interesting.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot of times in my notes I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God, no. And I was like, because again, I hope nobody from work listens to this, but I was at work watching this and I was like, this is intense as fuck.
Someone from work definitely listens to this.
Hey, Karen. Hey, Glenda from accounting. It's also, I also noticed kind of just going through it, and I don't know maybe if they add a character, but there's no sort of like medical person yet, which I found very interesting.
Like a doctor
like
at a hospital or something?
Yeah, like they kind of strictly stick to police and the firefighters.
Yeah, but the paramedics are medical.
Yeah, but it's not like, there's not like that one doctor character
Sure.
yet. I don't know if it's going to be.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just because we were just talking about that before. Like, what if Ryan made like his version of Grey's Anatomy or ER or something like that? And this is it, but it doesn't have anything to do with medical stuff.
Yeah. So the pilot was written by Brad, Ryan, and Tim Minear, who created the show, and it was directed by Bradley Bucher, who has done Glee. Tim did Glee as well. Let's see what else Tim has done.
I feel like I've seen Tim's name many a times.
Yeah.
Oh, he did Feud. He was an executive producer on Feud as well.
Mm-hmm. He did American Horror Story. He did Halloween, the episode from the first season. That's one of our favorite episodes. Welcome to Briarcliff. That's the first episode of season 2 of American Horror Story. So he's written for almost every season of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, he's written at least an episode for every season of American Horror Story. He also wrote on Angel, X-Files. Yeah.
He's like a genre guy.
A diverse palette, yeah.
He seems like a good pairing with Ryan either way, because this was like still very much like Ryan weirdness.
Yeah.
But like in a somehow they pulled off like a realistic setting.
Yeah. I'm just gonna look up Bradley Bucher too. I think it's Bucher. I don't think it's Bucker. I think it's Bucher.
Bucher. Yeah.
He is also a Ryan go-to. He directed about 20-something episodes of Glee.
Oh, shit. Yeah, he really did.
2 of The New Normal. He directed at least one episode of every season of American Horror Story. He did a few of Scream Queens. And he's done about a dozen between 911 and 911 Lone Star. Which, as we mentioned in the pilot, we're only doing 911. We will not be doing Lone Star until we finish 911. But after watching 911... I now see why they got a spinoff after only 2 seasons.
I know, yeah. I know.
Like, it's so easy to just plop this format down into another city.
They could do a 911 Alaska, bitch.
Oh, bitch. Don't even.
Don't even talk about Alaska.
This is the year.
No, it's not.
It's not the year.
No, this is not the year to go to Alaska.
Andrew and I have been, since we've known each other, planning a trip to Alaska, and just like every year we say this is the year, but obviously it hasn't been yet. So one year it'll be the year.
Maybe, yeah, not 2020.
2020 is not the year for anything. So let's get into this. I think, it opens with Connie Britton's dialogue, a nice VO, as I like to mention, of Connie Britton. And I don't know why, just the way she speaks, the music, the way it's shot, it's giving me full-on Nip Tuck vibes.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
okay.
There's a lot of, there's the music throughout, there's a lot of Nip Tuck-esque styling, I think, in this pilot, which I didn't expect because they're such different shows.
I could totally see what you're saying. Like the last song that they played in this episode too, it kind of like was weird. It weirdly stood out to me as well.
It was jarring. But yeah, so I think that's one thing that like caught me first, was just like how similar and how very much the directing and the style and the dialogue, it was very much all Ryan as well. Like this felt like a Ryan show.
Oh yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. In Connie's VO, she starts breaking down like what is the levels of emergencies, which I found really interesting.
Yeah, she gives us a little exposition. She's at home taking care of her mother who has Alzheimer's. She says she's 42. She recently broke up with her boyfriend. We see that her mom, and her have a difficult relationship because of her mom's disease. And then we see her at work where she goes through her process as a 911 operator.
Well, one thing when she was kind of caretaking her mom was like, I was like, oh, Connie, your hair. Like Connie's hair was like fried. And then as the episode went on, it changed to like her regular Connie hair. And I was like, oh, thank God.
It was early in the morning, bitch.
Okay.
Don't insult her hair. 14 minutes into the episode, you're going to start talking shit on Connie's hair?
Well, no, listen, her hair is iconic and she also knows that. But I was like, oh, this needs to be fixed. Thank God it was.
So we run through a 911 call that Connie gets about a boy not breathing because he hit his head on a diving board in a pool.
Yeah, and this just kind of shows her skill.
Yeah.
And then it also just kind of, so she has a great voice to be like a dispatcher.
Yeah. I love that they chose her because her voice will probably play a lot as just her voice. And we saw that in the pilot as well. So they did a smart move choosing her.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, because she's another like Ryan holdover. She, from when I looked up this season, she's only in this season, which I found.
Yeah, I know there's a thing where she does leave and then comes back or something like that.
It's Connie. Connie being Connie.
That's Connie for you. Don't even get me started on Nashville. So this sexy, diverse group of first responders show up.
Oh my, so sexy.
So sexy, so diverse. A black woman with a shaved head, an Asian guy, a sexy white dude with a birthmark on his face, an older white man who is very much giving me Nip Tuck main character vibes as well.
Oh, okay. I don't. So that main guy, Peter Krause, he's very. I think I've been telling you we're just about to finish 6 Feet Under, and he's the main guy there.
Yeah.
As Nate Fisher.
Which
and
I think 6 Feet Under is like if Ryan could pick one show that he wishes he could have made.
Oh my God, I know. Yeah, no, you're not wrong there.
Yeah.
Because then he took Frances Conroy and he's like, I'm taking you, girl. Come with me and let's like flex for a second because you can act.
I wonder.
And so then.
Let's look that up real quick. I wonder how many people were in.
Like he has taken.
From that, yeah.
Well, he hasn't had Michael C. Hall. He hasn't had the sister because she's ended up doing procedural shows.
James Cromwell.
Oh, yeah, he did take James Cromwell. Well, it's funny that James Cromwell is a big character in the later seasons of 6 Feet Under, you know?
Yep.
And for whatever reason, I knew him from Babe, and he was really nice there. But now when I see him in television shows because of Dr. Auden.
Dr. Auden. I can't wait till we get to Dr. Auden.
I know, me too. I see him as like, is he gonna be a bad guy? You know, like, is he? But he actually always pretty much plays like noble men.
Yeah. Yeah. You always expect him. I mean, since having been exposed to him in American Horror Story, you're like, he plays evil so well.
So during this voiceover, sexy fireman. Oh, wait. So Peter Krause has now aged into like a full-on daddy, which I'm very into.
Yeah, he aged gracefully. Yeah, he looks
God,
great.
he has such a nice
Better than ever.
butt. I noticed that like when he's just standing, that he has a really nice butt. So keep that in mind. But yeah,
Keep
so
that in
he's
mind. It
aged
comes
really
back.
well.
The butt comes back.
She's still doing CPR. She's still kind of voicing to the mom like how to do CPR. The first responders come, and then she touches on the fact that people hang up when the first responders get there.
Yeah.
And then as a dispatcher, you're just kind of left to just keep
wonder.
going, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is something I never had thought about before.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think about 911 dispatchers, but yeah, that would be really hard for me.
Let me ask you, how many times have you had to call 911 in your life?
Once, maybe, if anything, twice.
Okay. So I feel like I've called 911 probably at least a dozen times, probably more. Because my mom has epilepsy, so when I was a kid, she would always have seizures. So, like, if I was home alone, I was the one that would have to take care of the situation. And that really just, like, rung true with me when she said that. Like, and then they just hang up. Because that's what you do. You're worried about the situation in front of you. You know, you hang up. But there have been times where I thought about that paramedic that calmed me down. Or I thought about that 911 operator who told me to put her on her side. If, you know, sometimes she would fall on her face and she would be bleeding pretty bad. So that would be an added layer of you know, me being scared. But when she said that, I was like, wow, that is so true. Like, because it's such a quick moment. And then we see it again later with Oliver Stark's character, Evan, who wants to go and follow the story of the baby.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. It's like, how do they separate that? That must be so difficult, and so draining on that job.
I guess that comes with like their version of professionalism.
Yeah.
Ironically, the only time that I can remember was a really traumatic experience when my little sister had a seizure too, because she's epileptic. But I was like, whew. But let's not talk about that.
No, what a downer.
Oh no.
So I just want to say, like, I love Connie throughout this whole VO. Like, it just reminds me of why I love her. And she takes us through different types of emergencies that they get. So we see the boy in the pool, and then we see a woman who's about to jump and commit suicide at the pier. And we see Peter Krause trying to, Bobby? Tries to stop her. He doesn't get to her. She jumps and commits suicide. And then we see her get a prank call from somebody in a McDonald's drive-thru who got 6 nuggets instead of 9 or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's just like a wide range of emotions.
Relatable for you, right?
I obviously wrote it down, nugs and drive-thru. But just shows you like a wide range of emotions and events that a 911 operator can go through. And I think that was a great opening, a great way to showcase her, who I assume would be one of the main characters. But I will say throughout, we see an equal part of each one of these characters. And I think they're shaped really well throughout the entire pilot. Like, we see enough of each one to be interested in not only their work life, but their home life.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more there. Then we hop to Bobby, a.k.a. Sexy Peter Krause, daddy, at a Catholic church. And he's trying to make a confession.
Yeah.
And he's making a confession to a really young priest who, when they get into the little confession booth, Katy Perry. Katy Perry's fireworks start going off, and then it just like kind of breaks it, and then Peter Krause is like, have you done this? Like, do you know? And then the priest is like, yeah, of course, I could do it.
I'm just new.
In this sort, yeah, like, and I would be like, bitch, but Peter doesn't leave, or I'm sorry, Bobby doesn't leave because he needs it. Because in this sort of conversation with the priest, we get kind of a chunky exposition of him being a recovering alcoholic.
Yeah.
And he has been sober for 18 months. And he uses this in a lot of ways as like an AA meeting, like his sort of, he does weekly confessions with priests.
And he says,
it must be hard being a first responder.
The only way to survive the job is to find a way to cope with the ones you lose.
This is why you drink?
Like I said, we all find ways to cope. Some drink, some do drugs, some gamble. Some are sex addicts.
And when he says sex addict, we smash cut hard to the fire truck blasting down Wilshire Boulevard on its way to what we presume is an emergency. And then when we cut inside the actual fire truck, we see Evan, Oliver Stark's character, behind the wheel, and he's texting someone, clearly on his way to a booty call. And I will say that a sexy white man driving fast in a fire truck to a booty call is, I think, the Ryan Murphy moment of the episode for me.
Okay. I think mine comes a little bit later.
Okay. So it's just a hot scene where he races to a woman, they catch up to each other, and she agrees to have sex with him, and they have sex in the back of the fire truck, and he asks for her number, and she says, "Nah, dog," and that's it. So we just see that he raced across town in a fire truck to have sex with a hot woman, which is how we intro his character.
I will say that Oliver Stark, he goes by Buck.
Yeah, that's right.
Or Buckley. I will say that I think that he is probably one of the hotter Ryan Murphy hot white guys.
We should do a ranking one day.
Oh my God. Please, like Ryan Murphy hot white guys, generic, because I don't know, there's just like something maybe about him, and then
yeah, he's sexy as
fuck. I looked him up. Yeah, and then I'm like, oh, he's British, and I feel like he kind of gives like the American version of like a British punk guy or something, like just like I could see this guy fighting and in a pub with a fag
pint
in his mouth. Yeah.
I'd like to be the fag in his mouth.
Oh God, any day. So I was like, oh, okay. He's British.
Yeah. And then we see Howie, who's played by Kenneth Cho, who is also, I believe, the judge in The People vs. O.J. Simpson. So we'll see him as Judge Ito soon. But we see his home life, and he's just dating, and he said he's on a site called romancingtheuniform.com. So he's not having any luck, so he had to resort to a dating app about women that fetishize men in uniform. Which I wonder, there's been a lot of backtalk with the Black Lives Matter movement, or backlash rather, about police procedurals and how police are portrayed on television.
Yeah.
And shows are restructuring and figuring out, and some are getting canceled and all this kind of stuff. So I'm interested to see how this goes, because they do put, as of now, these first responders and these police officers and all this other stuff in a somewhat okay light, And I think that's the issue with the Black Lives Matter movement for them, is cops should be portrayed more often how they are, which is not, saving cats out of trees all the time, So I'm interested to see. Ryan would seem like the type of person to pivot with the audience. So I wonder if he does that in this.
Well, I could talk about that for hours, that whole sort of thing, because they're even jokingly gonna cancel Paw Patrol.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, the kids love it. But I think
cancel Caillou first.
I know. I think it is interesting that that the website that he meets his girlfriend on is called Romancing the Uniform, because there is at least for me personally, I've always fetishized policemen, and I don't know why. And then during, the Black Lives Matter, when everything started popping off, I had to really sit there and think about why do I do that? And why do I because I've slept with cops, I'm not friends with cops, just people who I've slept with. But anyways, it's but why do I do that? And then it went to a childhood thing. It was crazy, but it's something that I'm actively working against, rewiring why that I do that. And I think it was interesting to me that they just kind of blatantly, very transparently said romancing the uniform.
Yeah.
Because women and young gay guys like me fetishize that.
I think one of the earliest, and maybe I think that, it's definitely a post 9/11 thing, but I feel like growing up, after 9/11, I was 12, 13, 14 years old. peak puberty time. Like I hit puberty right after.
What?
I hit puberty right after the planes hit the towers, and
A 9/11 joke, Eric. Come on, too soon.
and so I definitely fetishized early on military men. You know, we were invading Iraq, and like sexy military guys were all over the news, and they were like, you know, everywhere.
That's true.
So I feel like I definitely fetishized that growing up, but I got over it.
I think like kind of a part of it is like my dad really fetishized cops in his own straight man way, because he's like a dark Puerto Rican guy.
Sees him as like a hero and stuff.
He knew, like he knew what he was up against with them, but he would always wave to them. He was actually in New York, was friends with cops and stuff like that too. He wanted to be a cop. My sister was a military cop. Like it was kind of ingrained in us to like respect them. And then I don't know, it's just like something in the uniform and my way of like internalizing all of that I was like, oh, cops are sexy. But then now I just have to just look away because they need other careers.
Yeah. So yeah, well, I guess we'll see what he does with that. But then Bucky gets back with Buck. I don't know, Buckley.
Buck. I think he goes by Buck.
Okay. So then Buck brings back the fire truck after he fucks.
Ooh, keep that.
Keep going. And then Peter Krause, Bobby, tells him that he's writing him up for an infraction for taking the truck, which I feel like should be a bigger issue. Which I guess is something that they also say to him after he tells Bucky to leave the room. I want to keep calling him Bucky, I think. I think that's fine.
Just call him. Just give him a nickname.
So Bucky leaves the room and they're all like, you know, you need to be harder on the kid. And Peter Krause kind of stands up for him. And then Howie says,
you know you're not helping him by going easy on him.
Just needs a little direction.
I'll remind you that after he gets you killed.
Ooh, is that foreshadowing?
That's what I was wondering too. I was like, is that like an Obi-Wan Anakin kind of moment?
Sort of thing. And then the scene is kind of cut by the bell ringing. I guess that was an alarm. I just always wrote that the bell was ringing. And then we kind of cut to this. So this is, I guess, a narrative thing in the show, like a 911 title screen of like, what is it called when like sound waves? And then it's kind of like, how do I put it? It's like when you're watching on the news, like a police recording, how they kind of have the text come up as someone is talking. That's kind of the style there. But then it's Connie, so it's good. And then someone's like, I was just going to the bathroom on this 911 call, and he's like, I swear that I hear a baby in the wall.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh fuck.
So, which is a strange 911 call to get. So you assume that it's just like someone on drugs. I would assume that. I could never be. Yeah. I could never be a 911 operator. I'd be so cynical. I'm like, no, you're not. And hang
You'd
up.
be judging everybody. Like, you high.
But yeah, so she dispatches the first responders, and our friends at the fire department go out there and investigate. They ask him if he's high. And he says yes, very.
Yeah.
But then they hear the baby crying.
But he said that he was high on sativa, so it's not the same.
True. I actually exclusively only smoke sativa.
Oh, okay. I don't think I have an exclusivity.
That's because you're basic. So they hear the baby crying, and then they decide they need to break open the wall and figure out why the baby's in the wall. Which, like, you know, there's a lot that goes on here. It's very fast. They make quick decisions.
Very fast, yeah.
And, like, there's so many other options it could be than the baby stuck in the wall. Because then he's like, I think they flushed the baby down the toilet? Why is that the first thing you go for?
And then it's kind of like, and then someone randomly knows the science. Like, if the baby was just born, well, actually, it's Bobby, Peter Krause. Like, he is kind of like the ultimate knowledgeable firefighter. Yeah. It seems like in all of these situations. So he's like, if the baby was just recently born, the bones aren't fully formed, so they can actually be flushed down the toilet.
Yeah,
it's in the wall. and then
and
fucking
that's it. There's no other options.
And then Hot Buck comes and he's like, I have an axe, let me hit the wall.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, it's just like, it is really
like
fast.
fucking Mystery Inc.
But but I guess it just like the fast paced it got me into it.
Exactly. Yeah.
That baby is in the wall though.
You're like, this must be it. Just keep going. Just get the baby out. Yeah. I feel like that's something they might use, which is also a very Ryan Murphy thing to do. To just barrel through it and just make the crazy seem real, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
So they work to get this baby out of the wall. They realize it's in the pipe. Even though, like, how could you flush it? Why would that, anyway. But then we introduce Miss Angela Bassett.
Finally, we have Angela Bassett coming as Anethea. Hold on, she has a really great name. Anethea Carter Grant Nash. She's an LA patrol sergeant. And she comes and she is already no nonsense.
It's Athena.
You know, she comes in, she is stoic and she's cold and she knows exactly kind of what to do.
Yeah.
So then she goes up to the hallways and she just like, everyone in this building needs to have their door knocked on. We're looking for someone young.
Yeah.
We are and it's like, well, what about a warrant, Sarge? And it's like, fuck the warrant. I'm knocking on people. I'm busting down doors if I have to. And I was like, I got Angela Bassett chills.
Which, like, also is, like, definitely illegal.
Yeah. Yep.
But that's fine. It's Angela Bassett. If she showed up at my door, I'd let her in anyway. So her and the police go around banging on doors. At the same moment, the paramedics realize if anyone above them flushes their toilet, the baby could drown.
Yeah.
So then the paramedics are running upstairs and banging on doors to tell people not to flush their toilet. And while they're doing this, while they're breaking the pipe out, while everyone's banging on doors, Angela Bassett sees an old man and a young girl looking suspicious at the end of the hallway.
Yeah. And then Angela, so, the scene kind of is continuing to escalate. And then the stakes are high. They just keep growing.
There's a baby in the poop pipe.
I'm having anxiety at work. And then Angela finds a trail of blood, after kind of searching it. And then she follows the blood. And it was to that mysterious sort of man and young girl at the end of the hallway.
Yeah. So then she follows it to where it started. And she follows it to like a construction site in the building where one of the bathrooms is getting remodeled. So there's an open pipe. So it actually wasn't flushed. She literally squatted over this hole in the ground and just let the baby drop down there.
And then delivered the baby. I was like,
and then she went back to her room. So Angela finds that, and then she breaks down the door of this old man and this young girl, and busts into her room and sees that the girl is in her bed, basically bleeding out, and says they need to get this girl to the hospital. So they cut the baby out. They push it out with some lube. They rush downstairs to put the baby in the ambulance. Angela Bassett rushes downstairs to get the mom in the ambulance, and Bucky and Athena have a little moment at the ambulance because Athena wants to put the mom in the ambulance with the baby, but they want to leave quickly.
Yeah, this was interesting.
Hold up! I got another one coming! Come on, let's go! Yo, is that the mother? No, screw her! She's bleeding she did. She's a child!
Hey, what are you waiting for? You gotta go!
What? He's refusing to take her?
No!
All right. Let's go! We gotta go, guys! Hurry up! If you get, hurry up!
Yo, if this baby dies, it's on you.
And so then it's kind of like this really rookie hothead versus Angela, and you're gonna lose.
Always.
But it's like, but the ethics of that isn't right, and that's honestly like not his fucking job either. Just like put her in the ambulance and they can deal with whatever sort of things that they have to arrest her on later.
Yeah.
And then also when they're taking the baby out of the wall, I kid you not, the anxiety I felt, I was like, I have in my notes, I'm like, oh my God, I can't. And I was like, this baby in the fucking pipe.
I know.
And that was so cute. I don't know. It was just like.
That's what I think is going to be interesting about this, and we'll talk about it more as the episode goes on. There's a couple other things, but these 911 calls are always going to be, at least in every episode, I feel like it would be weird if it wasn't like one call that was just wild.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like really creative, really off the wall, like something you wouldn't think of, I think that's kind of what they're going for. So they get to the hospital, and Bucky wants to go inside. This is what we're talking about. Peter Krause is like, no, we're done. Like, we can call later, and they might tell us how it is, but that's it. Our job is done here. Which I think is important to give the audience that information to see that this is how this is what the paramedics and the firefighters do. They get you to the
Well, I think
hospital and
this
then
is
they
like-
pass you off.
This is like two things. It's the second time of like leaving emergency situations to question and how do you deal with that like as a human.
Uh-huh.
And then so it's like the second mention of that. And it's also for us as the audience member to know like, okay, we're no longer talking about this either.
Yeah.
You know, because at the end of the episode, there wasn't any montage of like the young girl and the baby in the bed having a good old time before they went to bed. Like they were never spoken about again. It was done and it was left in that moment too. So we're feeling as an audience member similar to them.
Yeah. That's true.
And I was like, huh, okay. I'll just make up what happens in my head. They arrested her.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
maybe they'll touch on it. I don't know. Or maybe that'll happen.
Yeah, because we don't know. Because I was also I had while I was watching this scene, like all my things, I was like, oh my god, it's a product of incest, or like she, like I had, and I'm like, we're gonna learn why she flushed this baby, but no, we didn't, and we're done, and she was never mentioned again.
Yep.
So,
yeah, that's a very good point. But then once they get to the hospital, Angela Bassett pulls up after Bucky has his moment, and they have a little bit of a fight, and she puts him in his place.
Hey, you do not get to choose who lives and who dies.
Really? Because I was under the impression that kind of was my job.
That mother was no less of a child than her baby. You gonna get someone killed.
Well, maybe, but not today.
Yeah, you keep making jokes. I promise you, the next time you screw up, it'll be your last.
So then we cut to Athena's home life. We see she lives in a very nice little cute little home. This takes place in LA, by the way. I don't know if we mentioned that, but
no, I don't know if we did.
It's interesting that the same 911 operator gets the same fire department and police every time, because there's definitely districts.
Yeah, I was wondering.
But I guess
about
that's something where it's like suspension of disbelief.
I was wondering if it's just like based upon proximity. I don't know.
Yeah, but then they go to Beverly Hills and then they go to the Valley. So it's like there's no way that the Beverly Hills Fire Department would cover the Valley, the deep Valley.
Ma'am.
No, thank you.
Ma'am.
Sorry. So I guess it's just something we just have to give up belief in. I mean, not everyone's from LA that's gonna watch this, so they don't know.
This scene with Angela at home, I initially thought that this was gonna be like a lower part of the episode for whatever reason. You know, like I was like, okay, we're gonna learn about her family life, but it actually really twisted into some fun stuff.
Yeah.
Because so it's the morning time. She's coming down. She has 2 kids, a girl and a boy, and then her husband is making waffles. Mm-hmm. He says, "Hey, you want some waffles?" And she does not say nothing.
Yeah.
She says no words to him, and she just turns around, and then the kids are kind of standing there witnessing this whole moment.
Yeah. So there's definitely tension in the air. Clearly, they haven't been speaking to each other for a while. And the kids just come out and say it, like, are you guys getting a divorce? Like, what the fuck's going on? Our parents aren't speaking to each other. And the dad takes it upon himself to deliver the news as to why him and Athena are on the rocks. And he says he's gay.
Yeah, which is, I think, might be my Ryan Murphy moment.
Sure
I mean,
is. Yeah,
interesting
I agree.
how they're doing it. It could be way worse.
Yeah.
But it is yeah.
Ryan Murphy 10 years ago would not have handled it.
Oh no. Oh god, no. So he comes out to his kids and they are okay with it. They're like, "Okay, but if this comes out, we're going to get picked on."
Yeah.
And the daughter specifically was just like, "I'm fine with this, but can we please keep it a secret?"
Well, she more demands it. She has a fit.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot to process over breakfast.
Yeah. Yeah, Athena did not want to tell them at that point because she had just found out a few weeks ago, she says. So it's tense.
Yeah, but then the kids kind of get ushered off to get ready for school, and then they have a very interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Athena and her husband. She's like, "You lied to me over the years."
Mm-hmm.
And then they actually get physical at some point, too. And then we see the Angela Bassett arms.
Yep.
Just like her arms just hitting her husband. I was like, oh, no, oh, no. And then he says to her, she's like, "You always knew.
Yeah.
You knew what you did because you married me at 36 years old or however you were when your biological clock was ticking.
Yeah.
Like you used me from his perspective as a sperm donor, you
Yeah.
know, to have these kids. I wanted kids. You said to me that that I didn't sleep with you like other men did."
Yeah.
So she knew, and so then that to me added an interesting layer rather than having the betrayed wife of having a closeted husband.
Yep. Yeah, definitely add layers to the whole situation. Because even in the conversation with the kids, they say they're not getting divorced, which is like,
yeah,
okay, so how is this going to work? Like, are they going to transition into an open marriage? You know, we'll see.
Do it.
Because there is a script called Open that Ryan wrote a pilot for HBO, and they shot the pilot. Aisha Taylor was in it, or Aisha Tyler.
Aisha Tyler,
yeah. and they didn't pick it up, but I have that script as well, so that's one we're gonna read. And I wonder if he's borrowing things from that idea to put into this, because I think that is kind of one of the storylines in that, a little bit tweaked maybe. So I'm interested to see where that does go.
At the end of this scene, and this is like as a parent, which I'm not, the kids are at the top of the steps listening to all of it, just like. And as a kid, I was witness to many things. This isn't like my therapy session. It ends up being, because I've talked about my childhood at least 5 times already. But that was a lot. So I was like, this is actually one of the better, not even more interesting, but very interesting scenes.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot to process for a kid to hear all of that in one conversation, you know? No. So then we cut back to Connie and her mom. We see her mom's having a tough day with her Alzheimer's. Her nurse is late. Her nurse sucks. She's just like some airhead woman.
Veronica is her name.
Veronica.
She's a bitch.
I'm gonna call her Ronnie. But then Connie gets to work. Connie's name, by the way, is Abby. We're never gonna call her Abby.
I will never speak that name.
Say Abby.
Because this is a Connie Stan podcast, so
yeah, and we'll be speaking of her several times.
Well, then also, I totally thought that the mom was gonna die in the way that Connie left.
Oh, you thought she was gonna die in the pilot?
No, I had because again. That might have been Ryan Murphy 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like in the pilot, let's just like kill her off. And then maybe she will at some point in this season as well.
I'm sure
Who knows? But just the way she left and Veronica was just like on her phone playing Candy Crush. And I was like, sad. Oh no. So
but then Connie gets to work and she gets a 911 call from a girl who says her snake is choking her, and we cut to her home and there's a giant python wrapped around her neck.
Yeah, that I said, shut the fuck up. Like I was like, this is a Ryan moment too, or like not even. I guess it's not, because it's just like the wildness of it, and this is when I'm starting to pick up on like, okay, this show is living in this sort of extreme.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I mean? It's
and
talking
every
about
call
this
will be
sort
this
of
extreme.
Thing. Yeah, and I was like,
intricate.
and that's what I was really like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was like, okay, this is what we're gonna have, these fun, almost light moments sprinkled in that also throw you.
Oh yeah.
And that's something I definitely look forward to. And it is exactly like what you're saying. It's something that I think made me like the show more too.
So then the fire company comes in, and then
I just want to say they arrive at this house, and these houses are also fucking nice. I bet every house we go to in LA is gonna be so fucking nice.
Yeah, like what is this snake hoarder doing with like her huge driftwood in her middle of her living room with all of these snakes with nice lighting.
So then we see Howie is definitely afraid of snakes. So he's apprehensive that there's snakes just loose around the apartment when they get there or around the house. So he's standing back the whole time and just like a little lighthearted. This whole scene is just lighthearted, even though this woman's being choked by a snake.
This is like a good sort of like, okay, this is like the dynamic of the fire company.
So then Henrietta, played by Aisha Hines, she suggests that they sedate the snake, but they don't know how long that will take. Peter Krause tries to pull it off her neck, but it's too strong. And Bucky finally gets to use his axe and just fucking chops the snake's head off, because he's like, we don't have fucking time for this. Like, let's just kill this. Who gives a fuck?
Sexual. There's something sexual about him.
Well, that's the metaphor,
head.
Right?
Yeah, you know. And then Well, during this, it's like how he's like, kill it, and then Hen is kind of like, no, they're doing what nature is intended to do.
Yeah.
You know, and then this girl's an idiot.
Yeah.
Which as a daddy to many different creatures, I agree. I also would kill the snake.
For sure. Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna die.
Sorry, Hen.
Because I'm an idiot. I'm not gonna die because I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
So then they're flirting, sexy Bucky and the idiot snake hoarder. Cut to next scene. They're having some sort of like foreplay on the roof.
Yes.
Buck and
So
an idiot hoarder.
We see a shot of the fire truck is outside an apartment building or something, and the ladder is going up to the roof. So I automatically assumed that this was like an emergency situation. We cut to the roof, and it's them fucking around on the roof, Bucky and the snake girl. And then Peter Krause appears and climbs up onto the roof and catches them.
And this is the first time I noticed his butt. I just want to say that.
Okay.
So he shoos off snake hoarder, like get out of here. And then he is at this point really upset with Bucky. And he's like, this is this is it. You can't be taking the fire truck out to have sex.
Yeah.
He says that he is going to fire. He's going to fire him. This is the final straw. Bucky tries to save his job.
Yeah.
By saying this is the only thing I ever have, and then he uses his final straw, which is like, well, I'm a sex addict.
Yeah.
Self-diagnosed. And I think that's a real big diss to Peter Krause's character because he's actually an addict. And so then, was that a fire truck?
Yeah.
Weird.
That
is weird. And then because during this
But I think he is actually a sex addict.
I would like to see the next episode to see if he's actually a sex addict.
I would like to see that. I think they established it enough in the episode where he raced through the city on a fire truck. He uses a fire truck again to have. I think there's definitely proof.
I thought
evidence,
that was a disrespectful ploy to use against him.
But does he know that he's an alcoholic?
I feel like I didn't read any spoilers about this show, but I feel like Peter was probably the top of the firefighters, and then he was an alcoholic and probably had a downfall. He's only 18 months back on the force. So I'm sure that it's known that that is, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of, speaking of like this made up backstory that I have, that's why I'm thinking that like Peter is really nice to Buck, because maybe he like one of the classic like, I see you as a younger version of myself.
Yeah.
Because maybe he was wild and did all this stuff when he was an addict. And that's why he's easier on him. I don't know. I guess we'll see in episode 2.
Yeah, but he also tells him to leave his fucking baggage at home. He's like, we're here to do this. Like, we're here to save people's life. We're here to do the job and then go home. We don't take the baggage home. We don't bring baggage from home to the job. It just distracts you. And, he's done with this disrespectful guy on his team. So he fires him. Done.
So the next scene is Hen and Buck talking in the locker room.
Yeah.
Buck is cleaning out his locker, and he's just like, woe is me. And basically all I got from this scene is that there's no Dalmatian in this show, and there probably should be. Because Hen's like, she basically compares Buck to a Dalmatian, and because that's how Peter Krause's character treats him, like a dog. Basically, like a dog that he kind of cares for. And I was like, wait a second. Why isn't there a Dalmatian in here? And that's it. That's all I really had to say about it.
Sure, yeah.
Because then the alarm goes off.
Yeah, the alarm goes off. They get a call. And I think this is more so just to establish quickly that they're going to miss him and that they actually do like him.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. In this whole show, there is not one character that I do not like.
Same.
Even Bucky, who's supposed to be unlikable, I don't think there's anybody I don't like.
I can see me finding Howie annoying.
Sure, I'm okay.
Yeah, that's it. I feel like he's gonna be talking too much.
Sure, but yeah, overall, I think it's a great cast of characters. So I don't feel bad for. I do feel bad for Buck, but also at the same time, like obviously, he's the main actor in the show, so we know he's sticking around, so we don't feel too bad for him. But yeah, they get a call and they rush off, and we see Connie is taking a call from a 9-year-old girl, who says somebody is trying to break into her home, and she's home alone.
This really shows off, like, all of a sudden in Connie's like scene, like it gets real high tech really fast.
Yeah.
And even just like the visuals of it. But before we get into that, they contact then Angela, who's on patrol.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're trying to kind of get like, you know, Connie is trying to get out of the girl what the address is. She just had moved there. There's boxes everywhere in the house.
Yeah.
We hear in the scene a window breaking, so it's not like this little girl is misconstrued.
Yeah.
She runs upstairs. She's trying to give a description of the house, and then all of a sudden, Angela is trying to find it, and she says that she's in Steven Spielberg land. And then cut to like a really big, what is that shot called?
A wide shot, an aerial shot.
A wide shot of like all these houses that look like little boxes on a hilltop.
Yeah, from
you
like
know,
E.T.
that they're all the same. She's like, and I thought that was funny.
Yeah. So the little girl's scared. Obviously, she's trying to figure out, you know, how to evade these, you know, home invaders. And Connie is using. I think they do this on purpose to show the capabilities of the 911 office, even if this isn't accurate to how 911 works. I wouldn't be surprised if this was
or maybe
not.
it is.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Maybe we could do a little research in that, but I
Because
doubt
all
they
of
have
a sudden,
these technologies.
It felt like the Flash TV show. Like we're trying to find
They're
things.
in the fucking Batcave. Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
So
I liked it though. I was like, good.
Yeah, they're cross-referencing GPSs. They're trying to use her phone, but the girl's her phone doesn't have a GPS. They narrow down the neighborhood she's in. Angela Bassett gets the call. She says she can't turn on her siren because that'll scare the intruders. So she needs to just look for the house. It has a pink bike out front. In the meantime, the little girl gives Connie her mom's number. She goes to call her mom, and her dumbass mom, who left her alone to begin with, also left her cell phone behind. So the phone is just ringing.
She's
in the
a
house.
forgetful mommy.
Yeah.
But listen, my mom forgets her phone everywhere, so.
And this whole thing is just a really good, intense scene.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great way to end the pilot.
Since Angela can't turn on her siren, she actually calls Hen. So that's cool that they have a relationship. Black woman best friends.
Black queens.
I know. I'm here for it. And then they're on another sort of scene.
Yeah.
And she's like, wait a second. I will get you a fire truck there in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Cut to Buck out of uniform driving the fire truck and then meets up with Angela. Circling back to the tension that they had in previous scenes.
Now they have to work together.
This was funny because I don't know the exchange because I blocked out because I was laughing. But she said to Buck, "Don't go chasing waterfalls." And then Buck says, "I don't know that reference." And I was just like, oh my god. First off, second reference to Waterfalls, the song by TLC in a pilot.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's very true. I didn't even think about that. And Tim Minear worked on Scream Queens.
Exactly.
Wow.
So.
Or Bradley Bucher did. One of them did. I don't know. Listen to it. We said it earlier. So basically she's like, you know, drive down the street, blast your siren so they don't get thrown because they'll see it's a fire truck, not the police. And don't do anything, you know, don't be the fucking hero. Just do what I say. She knows that he breaks the rules and all this other shit. So he says, aye, Captain, and he goes off and he turns on the siren. And while this is all going on, the little girl runs downstairs and one of the robbers sees her on the phone. So she runs and hides again. And they're running around the house looking for her.
Somehow there's two robbers in the house. Yeah. One of the other robbers says, Petey.
Yeah.
Which... robber name? I don't like what Petey. What the hell? That's like a character in a cartoon, Petey.
Yeah, he calls out his name, so he's like upset because she's on the phone. So now they have one of the robbers' names.
But Connie, being the smart ass bitch that she is, picks up on that, and she starts delivering lines like a motherfucker.
Yeah,
she just like the delivery of what she says to the little girl, and then to eventually. Because then the burglar picks up the phone.
Yeah, they catch the little girl.
They catch the little girl. He picks up the phone, and then they start having an exchange too.
Yeah. So Connie basically is trying to negotiate with them to let the little girl go, and she will tell them how to get out of the house safely so the police won't catch her. And he asks why she's doing this.
This is 911 operator Abby Clark. I need to explain something to you about this emergency. This emergency is yours. I have dispatched the police to your exact location. I know exactly what road they're going to go down. I know what door they're going to walk into, and I am prepared to help you escape.
Why would you do that?
Because I don't care about you at all, but I care about that little girl, so you have exactly 2 seconds to make a decision here. You can either walk away from her and walk away from the police, or you can sit there and wait for whatever hellfire is about to be brought down in your head.
So they listen to her. They lock the girl up in a closet and listen to Connie, who tells them to go out the back door and hop over the wall and then run down the street, and they won't catch you. Meanwhile, the mom came home, and Bucky took her and is holding her in the fire truck while Angela Bassett is walking through the alleyway to break into the house. So the robbers are listening to Connie. They go into the backyard, and they're snagged by Angela Bassett in the backyard. But only one of them, because the other one runs off.
Yeah.
And this is where we get a little bit of a chase scene.
Yeah, one of them gets away on a dirt bike. And then for some reason that's so like Terminator 2 LA for me. You know,
it was like a really shitty motorcycle.
Yeah. And then, he goes down one side of the street, but then a cop stops him.
Yep.
So then he turns around, and this shit had me on the floor. But so then he turns around, starts going past the house, and then motherfucking Buck hits him with the water hose, knocking him off the bike, getting him arrested. I was like, I don't know why I was so into it. I mean, even talking about it now, I'm like, yes, bitch.
Yeah.
But
fucking
I didn't expect it. I just thought it was great. And I was like, it was a really rewarding redemption for Buck.
Yeah.
They didn't annoy me in making him the bad guy. His looks didn't, mean anything more.
Yeah.
And then they gave him this really cool moment of saving the little girl and using the fucking water hose. I was like, yes.
After a sexy shootout with Angela Bassett and the robber, they shoot their guns at each other.
It was great. I thought that all of that was really good.
Yeah. So Bucky saves the day, and he speaks to Connie on the phone, who thanks him for saving the day, but he's like, nah, bitch, you saved the day. And after the whole pilot of just Connie being shit on and her upset that she doesn't get to hear what happens to these people, this moment where Bucky tells her how special what she just did was really holds a lot of weight for her and means a lot to her. I hope it's Connie and Bucky that we ship. I hope that's a ship that we get.
Ooh, I hope that they do.
That'd be sexy. So we see the redemption for Bucky. We see a nice payoff for Connie, and Athena, Angela Bassett also saves the day as well.
So then this is the weird choice of song. So Under Pressure by Queen and who's the other one?
David Bowie.
David Bowie starts slowly playing in the background after we as an audience member has a relief.
Which I get because the theme is the pressure they're all under, but come on.
It was so shoehorned in. It just didn't work because then the ending montage of where everyone's at, so then Buck comes back to the fire station and Peter's there, arms crossed with Hen, and he basically welcomes Buck back. Angela is talking to her husband, upset, but not upset, emotional. She's watching the family now kind of re-embrace each other after this traumatic experience.
And she calls to reconcile, and I think
not really.
I mean, you could tell that she's warming up to him, but again, what are they going to do with their relationship?
But then, not to forget, Under Pressure is playing.
Under Pressure.
And it doesn't, the tone doesn't match.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I agree. No, I agree. And while this is all going on, we also get a good monologue from Connie. A little VO underneath all of this. And she ends it with a really nice sentiment as to the idea of, who all these people are and why they do it.
Under pressure. It takes a certain kind of person to swim in the pain of the world and not get wet. To run towards danger rather than run away from it. And for those of us that choose this life, there's no place we'd rather be.
911, what's your emergency?
And then that was it. That was the pilot.
Yeah, that was it. Again, great pilot. Very surprised. Super into it.
Very, very, very surprised.
I would say this is peak Ryan.
Definitely peak. This is definitely, for me, I would definitely play next.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not a huge cliffhanger sort of play next, but it's wow, I am really into this show.
Yeah. Yeah, way more than I thought I would be.
I know. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad that we got this. And this is really funny. This is so fucking random. We had to find out like how he came up with this concept.
Yeah, there's not much on that. We'll do some more research.
I know. I didn't find much either. So, but from feud to being what feud is to this this procedural.
Yeah.
I don't get it, but whatever.
Yeah. What do you think the most problematic moment of the episode is? Is this our first episode where we don't have a problematic episode or a problematic moment?
If anything, it could be Buck's behavior.
I mean, yeah, but it's not like he's like.
But that's not necessarily problematic.
It's not wrong. It's that he's just like sex.
No.
He's not like he's raping anybody or sexually assaulting anyone.
No, this could be the first one.
Yeah.
Weird.
Wow, good for them.
I know. Good for you. Maybe you're learning, right?
Yeah. So that's interesting. Wow.
That was a great pilot, and next week I'm really looking forward to this. We have Pose, the first episode of Pose. I don't remember it. I've watched all seasons or the 2 seasons, but I don't remember that specific pilot at all.
Yeah. So I only watched the first season of Pose, but the pilot of Pose is 78 minutes long. It's almost a feature.
Lord.
So next week's episode is probably going to be a long one.
It's gonna be long. It's gonna be long.
But we'll try to barrel through it. But it's such a good pilot and overall such a good show that I'm excited for it, even if it is going to be a long episode.
Me too.
So we have Pose, then The Politician, and then Hollywood, and then we wrapped up all the pilots.
Wow! Imagine what a journey.
What a journey. We're just going to end it after that.
We're done. We're doing one season of this podcast. We're
done. Well, thank you guys for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode. 911, check it out. It's on Hulu on Fox, or Fox on Hulu, whatever the fuck it's called. It's on Hulu.
Mm-hmm. It's on Hulu.
And we're excited for next week, which is Pose.
You can follow this podcast at the Ryan Murphy Project on Instagram, and you can follow me at Mr. Andrew Leon. You can follow Eric at I Hate Eric Wilson on Instagram.
Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Give us some 5 stars. There was some hater that gave us a 1 star. We know who you are.
A 1 star. If you're listening, hater. Well, it's funny because I said if there's 100 people in a room and one person says something bad, and then there's like that, one person, and then we're both like, oh my god. So it's true.
Gen
you
X
listen. I know. Come on. It was a Gen X.
Probably.
Gen Z and us are friends. Don't worry.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
All right. Next week it is.